Welcome to Alpha Wolf Capital. I'm Tim, and I want to personally thank you for stopping by. This channel is designed to help small companies, both public and private, gain exposure with potential consumers, investors, even partners. Take, for example, today's guest, CEO Justin Schreiber from LifeMD. LifeMD is building the leading platform for comprehensive virtual healthcare or telecare, end-to-end compliance first platform for direct-to-consumer virtual primary care. Early mover advantage and partnership strategy create a deep competitive moat. Affiliated 50 state medical group anchored by full-time providers who provide industry-leading comprehensive virtual care. This is a impact company for sure. And for those that don't have health insurance, this could be a good alternative to consider. A lot of times you don't have to go into the doctor to have someone take care of you. And I'm going to let Justin tell you more about that in just a moment. This is not to be taken as investment advice. I am not a certified financial planner. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. I encourage everyone to do their own due diligence. Hey everybody, Tim from Alpha Wolf Capital coming at you with a long overdue follow-up interview with one of my favorite guys and favorite stories. LifeMD Justin Schreiber is here to update us on the exciting things that are happening with LifeMD. He and I just spent a good hour chatting offline, and we could probably chat for another 3 or 4 hours, but we both have jobs to do. So, Justin, thank you so much for coming in to give us an update.
Great to be here, Tim. This is my favorite podcast. You've actually eclipsed Joe Rogan.
All right, man. So look, lot going on, right? I mean, we were talking about the new administration. RFK is, this health thing in America. Uh, People could have two views. They could see this as a threat to you, or they could see it as a positive thing. I think you make some really valid points that it's. I think net it's a positive for you, right?
Yeah, we think it's very positive, and the stock traded really well post the election as well. But yeah, I guess in brief, especially like if we think about our weight management and business that helps people access GLP-1 therapies, which is still today the fastest growing component of our business. I think it's highly likely that the Trump administration, there is some differences of opinion between Elon Musk and RFK recently. There's been a very public controversy there where Elon Musk has stated publicly that he thinks Medicare and the federal government should kind of broadly cover GLP-1 therapies. And then you have RFK on the other side saying we just need to regulate the big food companies and teach people how to eat more salads. I think that Elon Musk is going to win this one. I don't think that I don't think that most Americans that have struggled with obesity for decades or longer are going to all of a sudden be retrained with some education or but through buying different foods at the grocery store. I think it's really important to help educate people about what it means to live a healthy lifestyle and eat a healthy diet. But these drugs, I've seen this personally through many of my friends and family that have used these medications to lose weight. They're miraculous. And I think the right thing for us to do as a country is to make sure that we get these drugs affordably into the hands of as many Americans as possible, because it's going to kind of dramatically change people's health. And what we're also learning now, especially since especially since GLP-1 medications have come onto the scene, we're now learning that obesity is the root cause of almost all of the chronic disease that we see in this country. I mean, this is causing the cost to society from people overeating and from obesity is, I mean, it's unbelievable. So using these medications in a very responsible and conservative way to help people get healthier, lose weight, improve their overall metabolic health is the biggest thing that we can do, to really drive kind of broad public health over the next decade.
So, everybody knows that I like to find companies that I think can have a positive impact on humanity, right? And you definitely fall into that category with what you do. But for the people that maybe are not familiar with the LifeMD story, maybe give
Sure.
a quick breakdown of exactly what it is that you do.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So LifeMD, we call LifeMD a direct-to-patient telehealth company. So we have a platform for offering primary care. We treat more than 200 conditions, basically anything that you can treat virtually. We offer across all 50 states on our platform. We have close to 300,000 active patients now. We've done over 1 million consults. We have an incredible technology platform, that's supported by iOS and Android applications and a desktop application. Basically enables Americans to access, incredibly high quality and affordable healthcare the same way that they kind of access things that make the rest of their life convenient. And that's why like I'm so bullish, on the future prospects for companies like LifeMD. As almost everybody listening to this or watching this knows, like the healthcare system has lagged behind almost every other industry when it comes to innovation. We're still sending faxes today, Tim, which is crazy, right? These platforms that offer convenient, accessible, and affordable healthcare from your smartphone, this is the future of how medicine is delivered. It's the future of urgent care. It's the future of, lifestyle healthcare, which is where most people have seen these platforms and where a lot of LifeMD's business has been today is more in kind of the lifestyle healthcare space. But there is no doubt in my mind that like platforms like ours are the future of healthcare. LifeMD is a top 5 company right now in this direct to consumer telehealth world. And I think that over the next 10 to 20 years, as you see us participate with more insurance plans, as you see us participate, with Medicare and other government programs, as you see us continue to expand, the portfolio of things that we treat and our offerings, it's I think it's one of the most exciting places to be right now.
So is it just that what's the differentiator for you? I mean, there's other telemedicine or companies out there, right? But I
Yep.
think one of the real differentiators that I can identify is the fact that you can have a primary care physician, right?
Yeah, I mean I think that's one of the biggest differences for us is like a lot of these big telehealth companies, they have thousands of hundreds or thousands of 1099 providers. They're doctors, nurse practitioners that are working evenings, weekends, trying to make extra money. One of the unique things about LifeMD is the majority of our providers are full-time employees. So we've built this incredible culture. There's a lot of training. We do annual meetups. Like they're really, really driven to provide an incredible experience for our patients. So, I mean, that's one of the, I think, most important differentiators. I think the other big thing to point out is just size. What we do, and a lot of people really, I think this is really underappreciated, but like what we do, you think about it like running this 50 state physician group, offering consults, 20 hours a day across all 50 states. A lot of days we're doing 1,000 sync consults every single day. Sync means video with different regulations across all 50 states. Then we have the pharmacy component of our business where we have, you know, 4 or 5 different pharmacies, including our own 50 state commercial pharmacy, or sorry, technically it's 46 states as of today. We have thousands of different prescriptions being sent directly to patients' doors with different regulations in every single state across different indications. We have all of the follow-up care that has to happen. We have all of the technology behind the scenes that, enables all of this virtual, and video onboarding of patients, all of the care that like the MAs and the nurses, that type of thing that you see, that's all happening behind the scenes. We have a 150 person call center, patient care center in Greenville, South Carolina, which, also helps to ensure an amazing experience for our patients. The reason why I'm so confident about LifeMD's prospects and where we're going, Tim, and how valuable this company is that we've built is because I know how hard it is for anybody else to do what we do. And I see even these smaller venture-backed companies, and I get one or two a day that are well, not a day, but I have a regular stream of small, venture-backed, PE-backed companies that do anywhere from 10 to 50 million dollars a year in revenue, that just, ultimately they can't make their business work like we have, and they're coming in from bankers trying to sell them. And like I look at what they have, and it's, it takes hundreds of millions of dollars, in my opinion, to build something like LifeMD has. It takes years and years of investment. There's a lot of risk, even that if you put up that kind of capital, that you're not going to put together the kind of team and infrastructure that we have. Like it's just there's a lot of execution risk in the business. And so that's what really, like when this whole differentiator thing, because I get it, like that's an important question, but I think given how big the TAM is that we're going after, and
How
if you
big is the
what
TAM?
I the TAM is such a silly number, I don't even like to say, right? I mean, you can look, I mean, I'll reference like our slide deck, right? But there's a TAM, you could easily get into the hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Like it's just a silly TAM. It depends on what area you focus on. Every market that we're in is conservatively a multi-billion dollar TAM. Some of them, like if you look at the GLP-1 space, the numbers are 100 to 150 billion dollars a year, right? So the TAM is just silly. I mean, this is the
How,
biggest
how many
market in the
how many
world.
drugs did you say are for the GLP-1 are in being made right now?
Yeah, so if we just think about like our weight management business, which is helping people access this new class of GLP-1 medications, which is, the Wegovy, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbounds of the world. There are 75 new candidates in development in this GLP-1 class of medications. So what's the takeaway? There's like a short-term viewpoint here that part of LifeMD's business comes from, is relies on third-party compounding pharmacies. And because there's not a broad coverage for the branded therapies, they're very expensive. But like when you really think about this platform that we're building, like there are going to be 70, well, a lot of these drugs aren't going to be approved, right? But
Right.
even if you assume that there's another 5, 10, 15, 20 new drugs approved by the FDA over the next 5 or 10 years, I mean, this is a very, very, very long-term business. We have just today in on our weight management program, we have close to 75,000 active patients. I think the total number of patients that we've treated is closer to 150,000. And that's in like the first 18 months of, building this offering. So it's just one example of a single vertical that, I think very conservatively over the next 5 or 10 years could easily be $1 billion plus, enterprise value business for LifeMD. And one thing that I really like, the most important takeaway is that we're not a weight loss company, right? When you buy LifeMD, you get the upside from this like awesome, disruption that's occurring because of GLP-1 medications, but you're not buying Weight Watchers, right? Like you're not buying a weight loss company. You're actually buying a company that's built a platform to deliver amazing healthcare. We're doing it with partners. We're doing it in, other chronic conditions. We're doing it in urgent care. So like, the business, again, like that, I think that diversification, something for me as a shareholder of LifeMD is really, really important. And it's something that we're really continue to focus on, even in 2025, as the weight management business continues to grow.
That's fantastic. So you also recently, I think, got approval for testosterone, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't an approval, but we spent well over a year building what we think is the gold standard compliance, and quality infrastructure for helping men access hormone replacement therapies. Testosterone is one of the primary things that people come to RexMD looking for when they're in the HRT vertical. Yeah, we're seeing some really good like early indicators that's going to be a great business. We spent the last couple of months, just really offering as a cross sell to many of our patients that are already using RexMD for erectile dysfunction. The process is going great. I think the big takeaway, Tim, is like the caliber of healthcare that we're offering these men is amazing. I mean, that they're going to Quest, or they're having somebody come into their house, or LabCorp. They're getting this lab panel done that's more exhaustive and comprehensive than anything they've ever done in their life. Then they're having this incredible consult via video with a provider talking about their labs. I mean, how many times do you get to actually talk to your doctor about your labs, especially when it's around optimizing your health, right? And so then they're talking to their doctor about their labs, and a lot of them, testosterone isn't appropriate for. A lot of times, a GLP-1 therapy is what's most important because they're overweight, and that's what's causing the low testosterone. We have some other peptides as well that we're offering, but you know, the early indications are that, like, one, going back to what you and I always talk about of helping people and just, providing great medicine. It's awesome healthcare. I'm so proud of it. But I do think it's going to be a really valuable business because once you help people like this and they access one of these therapies, I think the retention is going to be better than anything we've ever seen in the business, including
Right. Why would they want to go do anything else, right? I mean,
yeah.
I, I just watched a podcast actually about healthcare in America and how it has become such a, I mean, you don't get to sit with your primary care physician and really do a full, workup on your blood and all that so that you can start, you know, regulating your life the way you should be living it to get the most out of it, right? Those days are long gone. You're just like in and out, right? The doctor maybe sees you for, I don't know, 5 minutes, right? You're not sitting down and really getting to know each other.
Yeah. And look, but by the way, I think the goal is to use technology to do all of this stuff even more efficiently than we're doing it today. Like, I think there is a way to provide this incredible healthcare experience, and
Yeah.
drive better outcomes, like, using AI and, figuring out ways to, maybe some of it comes down to like novel in-home collection devices. Right now, they have these devices that you may have seen. They're like vacuum collection devices. You just stick it on your arm, you get a full blood draw, send it in. There's no need to ever go into a hospital or request in a LabCorp. And then, by the way, like, oftentimes you don't really need a doctor to go over those labs. Like, we can use like a large language model, and like a beautiful interface to show people over time like what their labs mean and are they improving them, and then propose ways to improve them. This is where I think platforms like LifeMD are just going to really, really help to
So
save
are
the.
you doing a lot with AI?
We're doing some. I mean, we have a team at LifeMD that's done a lot with AI over the last 12 to 18 months. I mean, a lot of it has been, we're not using AI to provide healthcare. Like, if you come want to talk to a doctor or chat with us, like, you're not gonna have an AI bot like respond to you. That we're not there yet.
Right.
Where we do use AI is we've literally connected every single one of our systems. So for instance, in our pharmacies and our call, so like every single call that comes into the pharmacy, for instance, is recorded, and in real time, the AI can tells us like what the sentiment is, whether that person's happy, upset, there was a problem that needs to be dealt with. in our system, like even with our clinicians, like a lot of times we've built AI now that looks at the chat conversation if they're chatting with a patient, and will actually propose a response. But the clinician still has to kind of read it, copy and paste it. But it's saved them, we estimate internally that we've managed to make them 40-50%, more productive through a lot of the AI tools that we've implemented. So more of like a back end thing, but I mean, it's certainly going to have a bigger role in the front end care that we provide moving, at some point down the road, and not that far off, right? I think in the next couple of years.
Okay. Let's talk about maybe some assets that you have currently that may provide some upside for the stock.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things I think, we do have an asset in the company, which is our Work Simply software business. It's a non-core asset. Just as a reminder, we bought this asset back in the day before we were a telehealth company for $250,000. We've guided that we think it's worth somewhere around $100 million. Selling that asset has been a big priority for us over the last 6 to 12 months. The business, as everyone knows, that's followed the company, the Work Simply business went from, $1.5 million a month of EBITDA, had some small, like an operational issue, and had some competition come in the market. It was a series of things, but it declined from $1.5 million a month in EBITDA to, close to zero, kind of break even. It's now recovered. It's back to that kind of 1 million plus per month EBITDA range. So the business is looking great, and almost back at kind of the high water mark for EBITDA and growth. And so we're pretty confident that, we'll be able to sell that asset at some point, hopefully in the first half of this calendar year. But, I think conservatively, probably best to say at some point in 2025. And we think that'll be a, pretty big asset. It also, we own 72%, 73% of this business. So it's a lot of additional cash that we'd put on the balance sheet if we were to sell it.
Okay. So, one of the things I love about your industry is I don't think there's ever going to be no need or demand. I think it's always going to be there, right?
Yep. That's pretty recession. I mean, look, it's a recession-proof business, right? We
Yeah.
we all want to stay alive.
Most of us. Most of us.
Most of us. Yeah, look, I think that's right. I think that what I look at is the most important thing in our business is continuing to build the LifeMD brand, and continuing to focus on building quality revenue streams. So I think there are revenue streams, especially in a direct-to-consumer business, which is what ours mostly is. There are revenue streams that are lower quality, and there are revenue streams that are higher quality. And I think the best way to determine whether something's high quality is looking at retention, right? And so that's the number one thing that we're focused on as a company in 2025 is really just continuing to drive retention. The retention has been exceptional in the weight management business. I mean, it's still to this day it's the best unit economics that we've ever seen, and you're starting to really seeing that show up in our profitability numbers. But we're just doubling and tripling down on this. We're launching a new LifeMD Plus offering, which is like that low price kind of monthly subscription, somewhere in the $20 to $30 a month range, that gives you the ability to track all of your labs over time, gives you the ability to access an amazing doctor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays. Gives you the ability to get like really easy 1 hour async, meaning you don't have to talk to a doctor, like prescriptions. Like if you have a UTI, you need a prescription, you've had one before, 1 hour, you'll have it at your local pharmacy. Gives you access to all of our kind of wellness stuff, low price, high quality supplements so it's like building this whole offering is really my kind of single biggest focus right now. And I look at it almost like the Costco business model. Like I want to have this like base core LifeMD membership that's affordable with an incredible value proposition that you pay for it, you've plugged in your insurance card, you've plugged in your Medicare, you love your doctor, it's $29 a month, and like you're just never going to think about it, right? Like it's just you're always going to pay for this because it's just look, it's your doctor, and it might just be your occasional doctor, but it's $29 a month, right?
Right.
And then everything else we offer, is just going to be about like it's is going to be about like expanding or improving that value proposition. It's the Costco model, right? They have 95% year-over-year retention on Costco memberships. It's incredible and a fixed margin on everything else, right? That just really goes to like make sure that that value proposition for your Costco membership is amazing. I really think like our goal at LifeMD is something like very similar, and it's worth pointing out like that it's not going to be like that value proposition isn't going to be incredible for everyone. Some people do have like this amazing relationship with their doctor, and they don't want to change. They don't want to use the tech platform, but I think it's a minimum of 10 to 20% of our patients, if not a lot more, that we can present this LifeMD Plus membership to at a low monthly fee or an annual fee, and it will resonate. And I think that's something that we've built a team around at LifeMD and we're really focused on for 2025. And I would even like to start, my goal is to start reporting this number publicly as well. As we continue to see more and more success with driving the program.
So for somebody that doesn't have, let's just say somebody doesn't have any health insurance, any coverage,
Mm-hmm.
LifeMD would be, it would make sense to me that it would be a logical place to sign up for some kind of health coverage, right?
So look, if you don't have health insurance,
Yeah.
and which should have health insurance, right? I mean, especially with the Affordable Care Act now, it's pretty affordable to almost everybody. So first off, we should encourage everybody to have health insurance. But if you don't have health insurance, so and especially if you're healthy, a platform like LifeMD is amazing, especially for a younger person. I mean, you can pay, per consult. You can get your annual lab work done. You can even have access to many of the different like, wellness benefits of our platform. We have a prescription discount card that you get when you're a member as well, that if you do need a prescription drug, it could save you some money there. So yeah, look, again, I don't want to encourage people to not have insurance, but if you were in that, especially, a lot of young people, right?
Yeah, they think they're
Invincible.
indestructible, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
I know I did,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So having it is, I mean, you only get one body. Last time I checked, right? You only get one.
Yeah.
So you pretty much want to try and take care of the one that you have, right?
Yeah.
And that means anticipating that sometimes things you may think you're indestructible. That's not the way it always works, right? Find
Yeah.
that out the hard way.
Yeah. Look, I think that I think that once you experience, I look at it like having a doctor in the family. One of my board members, who's a prominent urologist in New Jersey, he always said that, right? When we were starting this thing. And if you have a doctor in your family and something comes up and it's Friday night, or your cold is just getting worse and worse and worse, and you're like, I really think I talk to a doctor about this. I mean that it's priceless. It's really, really priceless. And that's what we try to do with LifeMD. It's about giving people an affordable way to feel like they have a doctor in the family and that they can trust. There's price transparency, and so that's what we're trying to build, right? That's the right way to think about it, I think.
How many shares outstanding, fully diluted?
50,
50 million,
about 50 million, fully diluted.
which is nothing.
Small.
Right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it's small.
I view anything under 100 million is that's a low count for
Yeah.
sure. Standing, right?
Yeah, look, I think what's even more important is, we still have roughly a third of the company that's owned. Let's just say it's not all like it's not all insiders, but it's very, very tightly held. It's like founders and people that are working on building the company.
You like what you do, Justin?
I love what I do. I love what I do. I never thought I'd be the CEO of a public company like this, but it's been an incredible experience. And as you know, I like building things, and I think it's really awesome. I think it's really awesome how many people, no, nobody's perfect, especially when you touch hundreds of thousands of patients. I see all the complaints, and there aren't that many of them, but they really upset me when I see them. But we are helping a lot of people. I'll just say one thing quickly. Like we flew 20 patients into Fort Lauderdale about a month ago. One of them was my wife's cousin. My wife's cousin and I'm going to send you this video, Tim. Maybe there's a way you can incorporate or post it with this, but my wife's cousin was in her 30s, 300 and 310 pounds, had been written off by like three or four doctors. Basically, they told her weight was going to kill her. And we helped Gabby. Actually, she did a joint program with LifeMD and with our partner, Optavia, where they helped her with a diet program, and she took one of our therapies as well on the weight loss side, not a GLP-1, but she's lost like 140, 150 pounds. And like I was watching this testimonial last night, and I mean almost all of these patients that we did these videos for were bawling just because their lives have been like many of them where it's like they were on a pathway to they were on a path in life that was going to kill them. And it affects every second of your life, right? Every day. And it's just to see like I mean to see how many lives are being completely transformed by these medications is really remarkable, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about access, and why I think it's so important that we don't just take away this compounding route for these medications that have proven to be so miraculous until we come up with a global solution that enables especially the bottom 50% of the country. Right now, the bottom 50% of the country does not have coverage for these medications. They cost six, 800, $1,000 a month, depending on the
Yeah.
drug. And if regulators decide to strip access, to compounded medications, it will really shock me. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that the only solution here is, we need to come up with a global solution that's going to help Americans, access these drugs broadly, and especially the Americans that need them the most, which is
Right. I agree wholeheartedly with you, man. I mean, the healthcare system's been broken for a long time. You're right. My brother broke his hip, and he lives with me. I take care of him, and I had to send in faxes, man. I literally, I haven't sent a fax in I don't know how long, right? But
yeah,
every freaking day I was sending in faxes. It's like, what the
yeah.
hell? These guys are stuck back in, back to the past. Forget, back to the future, back to the past. These guys are like stuck there, right? I cannot believe it.
We send a lot of faxes as well, just because we have to interact with other doctors' offices. But it's unbelievable.
It's insane to me, right? We live in a digital world, and I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Faxing? What? I can't even. That blows my mind. I haven't heard that sound. That sound that you get over the line in so long. I
yeah,
forgot faxing even existed, right?
yeah,
But as
yep.
soon as you get into a medical situation, man, you better figure it out quick, right?
I hear you.
All right. What is the most? What are you most excited about for the next 6 to 12?
Yeah. So look, what I'll answer that by like, by like kind of vertical for us, right? So with the primary care platform, we expect big growth to continue from the weight management platform. We're launching several new indications in 2025, which we think are also going to be, big growth areas. some bigger than others, but like continuing to diversify the platform is a big priority for us. On the RexMD side, we actually expect to see better growth out of RexMD in 25 than we saw in 24. We're going to continue to expand and grow the HRT and testosterone business. We're looking at, other opportunities in like the peptide space as well, just trying to do a deep dive right now on the clinical data and see what makes sense for our patient population. I do think that we're gonna sell Work Simply at some point in 2025, hopefully in the first half of 2025. So, that's a pretty meaningful catalyst. And, we've always got a number of other, we've built a platform here that's very kind of partnership oriented as well. So we're also working on a number of other partnerships at any given time, that I think could also be meaningful catalysts for the stock if we get them across the finish line.
Okay. So what about acquisitions? I mean, is there a market out there right now for acquisitions in your space or no?
Maybe. I mean, again, I think that we're open to looking at M&A opportunities, but they have to be like they have to be right. I mean, we're obviously not going to do something big with the stock at these valuations because it's just, we wouldn't raise money at these valuations. We don't want to use the stock, for
So
anything.
so just out of curiosity, by your saying that, what does that mean if we in layman's
Well, I
terms?
mean, look, I mean, LifeMD has a very strong balance sheet right now. We have close to $40 million in cash. So we have a business that's profitable. Um, we're not like if I were to go out and raise money tomorrow and sell stock at $5 a share, especially given our balance sheet, I mean, that wouldn't signal a lot of confidence, right, in where the business is heading. So yeah, look, I mean, we're going to do everything we can to protect like the capital structure of the company, and we're open to M&A, but we're not going to, it would take a pretty amazing asset that we thought was a lot more valuable than what we already have in LifeMD to cause us to go out and, issue a lot of stock to buy something or raise money to buy something with the stock trading, in the $5 or $6 range.
Which
So
which in layman's terms thinks that it, I think you feel like I feel that your stock is undervalued right now. It's not properly valued. Would you agree with that?
yeah, I think I'm not. I mean, look, I'm always going to think the stock is undervalued, Tim. I think I'm not supposed to. I think I'm not supposed to say that publicly. But any CEO that doesn't think, well, look, it's unlikely that a CEO of a company, and I'm the largest shareholder of the company as well. I'm going to always think this thing is undervalued.
Right. Well,
But
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and yeah, you're probably
look,
not supposed to say that, but I believe that the stock I believe that the stock is undervalued. Right. I mean, let me answer your question. Back in 2000 and what was that? 2021. The stock was sitting at around 28, $30, right?
yeah,
Somewhere in that area. Do you think in your head, do you see well, no, let me ask this. Is this a stronger company today than it was back in 2021?
100%. I mean, the company's way ahead of where it was back then, of course, both from a revenue, but also just from an infrastructure and quality of revenue standpoint. That's an easy question. Look, I think that you can look at the comps. I mean, your followers can look at the comps, and you have Hims out there trading, on a multiple of revenue several times where we trade. They're a much larger business. Um, but look, I think that what's important for LifeMD is that we continue to prove out quality revenue. And I, I'm for shareholders of ours and prospective shareholders that are listening to this, that's kind of my biggest focus of the coming year is just to continue to show to continue to show our shareholders, both current shareholders and prospective shareholders, that, you know, this is a very, very long-term business. We have great retention, both in our like indication specific offerings, like our weight management offering, but also with the core LifeMD offering. We're hopefully gonna be able to show people more that, talk more and more about our ability to cross-sell people to other offerings on our platform. So I think that's really the key long
Let
term.
me let me ask you a question. If I sign up with that LifeMD, right? Do I pay? I pay. What do I pay? What do I pay just to be part of the network?
Well, there are a lot of different offerings. Like right now, if you were just to sign up for the a primary care offering, you'd pay in the $30 to $40 a month range.
Okay.
If you were on a weight management program, you'd be paying more like $60 to $70 a month. And it depends on the length of membership that you purchase.
Okay.
But
So is
that's a good number. But again, like you're getting, if you're getting a lot of care, you're getting your labs included, your care included, and that's without using your insurance. If you're going to use your insurance, you would actually pay even less than that.
okay. So like if I got sick and I don't want to go deal with going to the doctor, but I just want to find out, I'm not feeling well. I can hop on a call with whoever, right?
Yep.
And they can prescribe me whatever it is that I need if I've got a cold or whatever, right?
Exactly. As long as it's medically appropriate, right? I mean, they'll prescribe you whatever they think is appropriate.
Right. So, I mean, that to me is just not having to go down, to the emergency room or to whatever is huge, right?
Yeah, or to drive across town to visit your family doctor. That's
Right.
pretty, that's a hassle, right? You go there, you sit in the waiting room for 30 minutes sometimes or longer.
People hacking around you. It's just like,
Yeah.
I don't I don't want to be there.
No,
Right.
it's a terrible experience. So, I mean, again, there are a lot of times that you need to go in and see an in-person provider. So we're not replacing that. But a lot of the time, you see a
We
lot of different
don't need
numbers,
to.
but a lot of the time, 50 to 75% of the time, m- things in primary care world can be treated in a virtual environment. And that's where platforms like LifeMD can make your life a lot more convenient.
Right. Right. So, I mean, I look at this. This is a show that is for investors, but it's also a show for just the average Joe that wants better better life products for themselves, right? I mean, this is a product that I believe in, right? And you're a CEO that I believe in because you care. And I love hearing the fact that when you read somebody has a negative comment, it bothers you, right? I mean, I love that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can have a whole bunch of positives. For me, it's the one or two negatives that really just that's what sticks in my craw, right? It's like those are the ones that bother me the most. All the compliments are great, but it's the ones that it's like where did I go wrong? Where did I fail? Right?
Yeah.
I hate failing. That is not just something that I don't think anybody likes doing that, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. And like sometimes you have to be careful, especially when you have a business that's as big as LifeMD is now with hundreds of thousands of patients. I have to constantly remind myself that you can't make everybody happy, right? So, but we
It's
try hard. I
impossible.
mean, we have done incredible things over the last 2 years inside of the company to improve, quality of care, response times from our clinicians, response times from our, even our customer service and our medical assistant teams. We've moved heaven and earth to like try to do everything we can to make this an amazing experience for everybody. And I mean, look, it's the Amazon model, right? Like that's the way that with this type of offering, I think long term, that's how you drive. That's one of the components to driving amazing retention is creating an amazing experience and having incredible customer service, patient care in our for our business.
You know where that all comes from too? From the top, right?
Yep.
So that's what I love about you, Justin. Is
Yep.
you're a real guy. You're real. real guy, transparent. It's obvious that you care. And I think you're doing great things. And I think eventually that will translate into a higher share price. I do think this company is way stronger than it was back in 21 when it had a much higher share price. Uh, I'm just going to move your logo for a second so that I can just talk about the stock here because from a technical standpoint, this is actually looking really interesting. Let me see. I'm going to have to move the bull. All right. So, if you look at the stock, it had this big pullback and then it bounced, it recovered. Actually, my arrow's on the wrong one. There we go. Had this big pull and it bounced, but the bottom line is it's still in an uptrend. Okay. So even though it had this pullback and now it's about this by the way is on a weekly time frame. I'm going to change this over to a daily. Second. That was on a weekly time frame. All right, let me go here. Year to date. All right, so you're actually just kind of in this consolidation mode, right on an area of potential support, right? So there's areas of support and resistance. You're sitting on this area of support, and it's kind of just going sideways, and it's in a pie formation, which is they call that it's a bull flag formation. It's a pennant flag. You're coiling. You're getting ready to do something. You're either going to break to the upside or break to the downside. Now, being that the overall trend is from the lower left to the upper right, my money would be on that you're getting ready potentially to pop to the upside, right? What would be the catalyst for that? Well, there's a couple of things. You did say you have some new products that are going to be coming out, right? You have potential sale of the one sub
Work Simple.
right. So you've got some potential catalysts. So fundamentally, from talking to you, it sounds like there are some positives, right? GLP-1 isn't going away. I don't think it's a fad. I think that's going to continue. It's really a matter of just people discovering LifeMD, right? I don't think the investment community knows LifeMD extremely well. Would you say that?
Yeah, I think that's true. It's been a tough environment for small cap companies, as you know.
Right. That's changing though. I don't know if you knew this, but last month was the first month the small caps outperformed the large caps in 8 years. Now,
Wow.
if that is a trend that has changed, I can tell you this. When that trend changes, typically the small caps outperform the large caps for 6 years on average. I think it's going to be 8 years this time because it was an unusually long pullback. It was it's the worst duration small cap pullback I've ever been through, ever, by far. So I do believe that just like things get irrational exuberance, we have had undue pessimism to the downside for a lot of small cap companies that have been beaten up and do not deserve to be beaten up for what they have done and accomplished over the last 48 months, right? So that is going to have to catch up. I think people are going to, when this thing turns, when it really turns, there are a lot of good companies that have been unfairly punished that will go back to where they should be, and that will just be the beginning of the move, right? Because you're going to correct what was wrong, and then you're going to start paying attention to what's happening, the future. And that's what the market is supposed to do, is supposed to be looking ahead, not behind, right? So this is an excellent story. I think it's going to continue to be an excellent story. And I don't tell people what to do. I don't tell people to buy. All I do is present the opportunity, and I present what I think are good opportunities. This is what is your So you got high insider ownership. I mean, it's not all insiders, but you've got a very tightly held stock. You got 50 million shares outstanding. How about warrants or overhangs that are
No, Warren. I mean, it's important. I think if people are analyzing the capital structure, we do have a senior debt facility, which is around $18 million right now. And then we also have a trading preferred, which is $35 million, which trades under the ticker LFMDP.
okay? All right, Justin. Listen, man, I love your story. I think the stock is coiling. I think it's at a very interesting spot. Uh, I think you've got a really, really solid area right at $5, which is not, accident either, because that happens to be where funds, some funds can't buy stocks below $5, right? So this is a very interesting spot. I think, you potentially have some catalysts that are on the horizon. I think the overall business environment is going to be better this come because of the administration change. I mean, people might hate that I just said that. I don't care. Doesn't matter. All I care about is if things get better for business, and I think that's going to happen. So, if anybody's got any questions for you, they can always reach out to your IR. Right? If you don't own the stock, this is what I would recommend. At the very least, buy one share. Buy one share. That's all you have to do, right? Buy one share that way and sign up for their IR, investor relations. Get their IR sent directly to your inbox and pay attention to what's happening with the company. That's what I would recommend. Buy one share. I can tell people to do that, right? Buy one. I mean, it's not a big deal. What are you risking? $5. I mean, go for it, right? And if the stock takes off, you're going to participate, right? You're going to wish you had more shares, but you still participate, though. You don't miss the whole run. All right, Justin. Look, man, I want to have you back sooner than what we did this time, right? It was too far apart.
Yeah, let's do it. Why don't we plan to chat? Maybe we can do a follow-up after our K in like April or something like that.
That sounds like a great idea. I'll actually mark that down now. Okay.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Well, hey, thanks for your time, Tim, and thanks to everybody who invested an hour into watching this.
All right, Justin. Hold on one second. I'm going to shut this down. Thank you for joining us for another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Capital. Today we had Justin Schreiber from LifeMD. I hope you enjoyed today's interview, and if you did, do us a favor, give us a like. How about giving us a share? And while you're at it, make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.